Hi, I'm Kim Tasso, and today in this very short video, about 8 minutes, we're going to be looking at presentation skills, and I'm going to try and share with you some tips that might help, whether you're a beginner at presentations or a more experienced speaker. I've done lots of work in the past with people, whether that's to improve their performance at work events, feel more confident when they're public speaking, or indeed winning competitive pitches when they're doing tenders and things. And I'll also signpost some other resources for you if you want to look at some of the topics in a bit more detail. Now, glossophobia, which is the fear of public speaking, is remarkably common. Some research suggests up to 77% of people have some anxiety when it comes to public speaking, although personally I always find it scarier talking to people I actually know rather than a room full of strangers. So I promised it would keep it simple, and I've got a model using A, B, C, D and E to make it easy to remember. Okay, so the first one is audience. Okay, so the starting point for any presentation before you start any work or preparation is to think about the audience. You know, we have to have empathy with the audience. We need to do some research about the audience. We need to think, who are they? What do they know? What do they want to know? Why should they be interested in your presentation? What are their expectations? And, you know, what are they going to get out of it, really? What are the benefits? But using the word audience is a bit awkward because it suggests things are a bit passive. And really, the audience needs to be quite active in your presentation, so that we'll return to that point later. So a good presentation focuses on the needs of the audience, not the needs of the speaker. Okay, so the second point, B, is what's the basis for your presentation, or what are the aims? I have a rather splendid arrow here. Okay, so why are you doing the presentation? What do you want to achieve from it? What are your aims, if you like? You know, what are the key messages? And I did a short video before on the importance of 3 key messages, or the power of 3. And you also need to set some SMART aims, make them measurable. So if you know what you want to happen as a result of your presentation, or what outcomes you want, then it's going to be easier to select which content to include, and also you'll be able to measure whether it worked or not. Okay, so C is for content, and if you like, I've put this as the meat in your burger, or the non-meat alternative, if you like. So what's the content in your presentation? Inevitably, you're going to have too much content for what you can sensibly fit in the time available and what the audience can reasonably absorb. So sometimes I suggest to people that they prepare a mind map to think about all the different things that could be included, but not. So here's not a particularly good example here, but just this is for me, just to kind of plan out the different topics and look at the linkages between them, so I can pick out what's going to be going on with that. And again, that will also help you pick out the 3 key messages and look at where there's lots of kind of evidence and examples to support those kind of key messages. It'll also help you think about how you structure the presentation. So, you know, kind of beginning, middle and end would be really simple, but you might think about alternative approaches such as then and now, or here and there, or linking to some sort of topical issue that's going on. Some people suggest you tell them what you're going to tell them, and then you tell them, and then you tell them what you've told them, which is good for reinforcement, but it also helps the audience navigate where they are in the presentation, what's coming, and you know what's gone before already. So think about what visual aids you might use. A picture's worth 1,000 words. PowerPoint slides, images, tables, charts, props, videos, handouts. There are lots of possibilities, so be creative. And don't try to do too much with each slide. If you're using PowerPoint, try to stick to one key point or one key image. And think about what would be most value to the audience. The visual aids are aids to the audience, not aids to the speaker. And also be aware that people have different preferences for the sensory input. Some people are very visual, so they need to see things, and other people are more auditory, so what's coming on for them to hear will be more important. So make sure you've got a blend of those things. Some people worry that their content is too technical, so start really simple and link to things that they might already know, and then build up layers of complexity. And that's how all TED lectures actually are designed. And other experts say that you should think about your audience as being kind of ignorant geniuses. They're very smart, they just don't have the information you want to share. Using metaphors is also very good. Again, that helps people connect new information to stuff they already know. Again, another approach might be to explain it as if to a 6-year-old or to your grandma. Others worry that their content is too dry and boring. Now, if you believe that, then you are going to convey that to the audience with your nonverbal communication. So you've got to be passionate and excited about the content. Find novel ways to make it come alive, and to make it relevant to the audience and meaningful. And we remember that stories are remembered like 22 times more than facts and figures alone. So try and weave some stories and anecdotes into your presentation. And there's a little video on storytelling as well if you'd like to know about that. And also you need to think in terms of your structure. How are you going to start? That's important for making positive impression really quickly, and also for the primacy effect. People remember what they hear first, and also think about how you're going to finish, because people remember what they've last heard, and that's the recency effect. Okay, so next we're going to talk about D for delivery. So here I've got a kind of like the theatrical sign for comedy and tragedy, because it is a performance, if you like, how you deliver your presentation. You'll need to think hard and practice about how you want to deliver it and what style and tone you want to get across. Rehearsing will also be really helpful in helping you build your confidence with the material and how it's going to go, and it'll stop you having to read from a script, which can make things sound a bit stilted. And again, most of the meaning is going to come not from what you say, but how you say it. So nonverbal communication is extremely important. And again, there's an introductory video on that for you. So your smile, your posture, your warmth, your personality, and your energy will be communicated with your nonverbal communication. And you need to really create that good first impression and connection with the audience as soon as possible. So sometimes also an early hook or a promise of what the audience are going to get out of the presentation, the benefits, if you like, will be good. And also try and pique their curiosity, you know, ask a question or tell a story, so kind of get them involved in what you're talking about. And of course, not all presentations will be made in person. A lot will be done, you know, through digital channels or through video like this. And that makes it much harder to create and make contact and a connection with the audience, and also to create eye contact, because typically you want to look at the screen rather than the camera, and that can be off-putting for the people who are watching. And it's also harder if you can't see your audience directly to read their nonverbal communication, and their micro expressions might help you kind of change the pace or change what you're saying and doing. And always have a crisis plan. You know, what happens when the power goes off, or what happens when the internet connection disappears? You know, how are you going to carry on that basis? Right, so the final piece is around engagement, E for engagement and effectiveness. So for engagement, I have a social media like, but also in person I have a handshake, because ultimately a presentation you need to make that connection and get the deal done, if you like, or whatever you're trying to achieve. So think about it more as a conversation than as a lecture. And in person, you can do that by asking questions or promoting discussion or asking for the contribution from someone. Online, it's a bit more challenging with a presentation, but you can use things like polls, and you can use thumbs up and the emojis on the screen to breakouts to get people to engage a bit more. If your presentation is trying to help people learn something, then you might need some exercises or an opportunity for them to apply what they know or they've learned into reality. And it always improves audience satisfaction if they've got a chance to share their knowledge or to ask questions or to connect with each other in the audience. So that's a really good thing if you can facilitate that in your presentation. Make sure you allow time for that to take place. And think too about how you're going to follow up after the presentation. Is there some stuff you can send to people? Is there some stuff they can request? Is there somewhere they can go to get more information? So think too, that's part of your kind of what you're trying to get out of this, you know, how you're going to follow up afterwards. And if you've set those goals, those aims, remember the arrow at the start of the presentation, then it's going to be much easier if you think about how you're going to kind of build in that measurement. Okay, so the ABC, A for audience, B for the basis or aims of your presentation, C for the content, D for the delivery, and E for engagement and effectiveness. Good luck with your presentations. Thank you very much for watching and listening.